You can only imagine how intense the scriptures we were gonna read would be, especially considering how we planned it all out and everything, it went in our favor. It was perfect. Well, almost perfect. Before you watch this video, I recommend y'all go watch this video, because this video is a part 2 to that one. But just in case, here's a quick recap for you. I met this really good looking girl, Alicia, at my aunt's wedding introduction ceremony, and we hit it off, and we eventually got into a relationship a couple months later. Everything's going great. We're having a good time with each other. The warning signs were there, but love is blind, only for the plot twist to come in the most dramatic way on the day of the actual wedding, when we discovered that we're gonna be cousins by way of marriage. Something a lot of people who've heard the story say about it is that since we weren't exactly blood cousins, then it didn't matter. And well, you make a good point. That kind of thing could slide in certain places maybe, but that doesn't apply to us, cause we're a little thing called black. Yeah. Besides that, it complicated things a whole lot, as you'll see. So it's the after party, the night of the wedding, and I'm trying to keep as much distance between us as possible because the whole situation was pretty awkward. She texts me, please come to the car, let's talk about this. But that's the thing, there was nothing to talk about. We were literally cousins now. That comes before our relationship. And so I knew what we had to do. And she did too. Whatever conversation she wanted to have, it was only gonna end up being a clash of logic versus emotions, and usually that doesn't end with the desired results. So I started avoiding her. I didn't answer her calls, didn't reply her texts, and I started hanging out at my boy Ty's house, so whenever she came over looking for me, she'd never be able to see me. It was tough because I was hurting myself too. My heart was broken, but I knew her. Alicia was impulsive, she was spontaneous. She wouldn't let our relationship go so easily. And I knew that, which is why as much as I wanted to talk things out with her and give her proper closure, she'd overpower my logic with her emotions. What I was doing, it was for the best. A few weeks later, I returned to school. And if you don't know, I attended a boarding school. Resumption could not have come at a better time. It was the perfect distraction. With the stress of school and the constant threat of excessive bullying from seniors, I had my hands full in school. And for a while, I didn't think about her anymore. It was good. I was moving on until summer break, when everything I'd been running away from, it caught up to me. But before I tell you how we got caught, I should probably tell you how we got back together. Here's the story. So check this. I get back from school. One of my aunts, she's having a housewarming party for this new house she just built, right? After being in that hell of a school for 4 months, I was willing to go absolutely anywhere. And I gotta say, it was a nice ass house. The housewarming was cool. It was calm. I'm chilling. And then I hear something, a voice, more specifically, a laugh. I knew that laugh well. I turned to look, and there she was. The brown skin, the little waist. But something was different this time, because this time, she cut her hair short. I have always been a sucker for short hair, man. I can't explain it. And then she laughed again, and this time, I noticed why. She was talking to some guy, and from the sound of it, he must have been like Dave Chappelle or something. How old is this guy anyway? He looks like... You know what? That's none of your business, man. 6 months of work. We're over all this shit. She can talk to whoever she wants. I don't care. So I'm feeling a little thirsty, so I decide to grab another drink. And just as I'm about to leave the room, she turns and she sees me. Damn, she looked good. I smiled and waved at her, and she just turned her head back like she ain't see nothing. Bruh, I have never been that hurt in my life, man. That shit stung. I mean, I know I declined her calls, ignored her texts, avoided her, and probably put her through months of emotional discomfort. But I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't want her to hate me. We were still cousins after all. It was messed up, but I took my L and left. Had no time to be stressing about it. After a while, I'm ready to head home when my aunt, she asked me to stay back and help her clean up after the party. I didn't exactly have anywhere important to be, so I agreed. I wait around, and as the party dies down, I grab a broom, plug in my headphones, and I get to sweeping. I'm at it for a while, and then I feel someone tap me on my shoulder. I turn around, and there was Alicia. I had to blink a few times to make sure I wasn't tripping. Hey, Aunt Mary asked me to come over and help you out. Oh, that's cool. Sure. Grab a broom. I still felt some type of way about her ignoring me earlier, so I wasn't exactly feeling too chatty. I put my headphones back on to show that I wasn't in the mood for conversation, and right as I'm about to play my music, she goes, "You know this was how we first met." "What?" "At the introduction, remember?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember. I remember thinking you were really cute, and I kept stealing glances. I just think about it sometimes. It was really nice."
Oh, hell no!
Oh, please, don't tell me you're about to fall for this shit. She knows what she's doing, bro. Just walk away. Or you could just play along. I mean, damn, she looking nice. She's your cousin now. Oh, please. Look at her. She even got the short hair and all that. The hair is pretty fire though, I can't lie. I know, right? It really brings out her complexion. Yeah, I fuck with that. Yeah, I guess it was. "Do you hate me?" And I'm like, "What? Hate you?" "Yeah." "No, I don't hate you. I mean, you ignored me earlier. I thought you hated me." "No, silly. I just don't understand why you ignored me for 6 months. Because I love you or loved you. That's why. I don't understand." Look, what happened, it was hard on us both, okay? I couldn't deal with it. I thought that avoiding you would make things easier for the both of us. Did it? It did for me, but I never thought about how unfair it was to you. I should have communicated better, and I'm sorry about that. "You are? Wow. Well, it's fine. I was really hurt, but now that you've explained, I guess I understand your reasons. Thanks. I appreciate that." We ended up talking things out, and it went surprisingly well. I really appreciated the fact that despite what happened between us, we could still be friends and talk to each other like this. We finished cleaning up, and by the time we're done, it's past 10 p.m. So my aunt, she asks us both to stay over since it was too late to go home. And because we weren't going home, we figured it was the best opportunity to grab a few drinks and catch up. We get the drinks and go up to the balcony for some fresh air. And we get to talking about school, our friends, just life in general. And I realized how much I enjoyed talking to Alicia. It didn't have to be about anything huge or special, just raw, free-flowing conversation. That was something special we shared. And then she goes, "I really miss you." Pause. Bro, you have to stop this now. What? This is the best part. Look, it was different when y'all didn't know you were cousins. It was innocent. It was excusable. But if you do this now, there's no going back because you know what you're doing. Hate to admit it, but Golden Boy over here might have a point. Hey, he makes a good argument. You know what you have to do. Listen, Alicia, I have to be honest with you. I miss you too.
Really, nigga?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's times like this I wonder why I'm still here. You gotta admit though, that girl can kiss. I know, right? She's got great technique. Yeah, excellent form too. And that was how we got back together. That was it. 6 months of work trying to get over this woman, all gone, okay? It was gone. In the next 2 weeks, they were so tense because we were hiding from everybody. Our parents, our siblings, our other cousins. There's only so much you can hide. Nobody was gonna believe we were locked up in the room for 3 hours reciting Bible verses. Whenever we met up, I was always the cautious one, yeah? I made sure nobody was watching or lurking, suspecting. But she wasn't careful at all. And her sloppiness, it was the reason we got caught. So 2 weeks after we got back together, my grandma, she asked me to come over to her house for the rest of the holiday. It wasn't something new. She always had us grandkids come over for the holidays, and it was always a lot of fun. Problem was, I couldn't trust Alicia to behave herself. And if we did go to my grandma's, she'd most likely get us caught. So to deal with this, I came up with a plan. A friend of mine who we'll call Jack, he lived in the same neighborhood as my grandma. His sister was in college, his dad worked in a different state, and his mom, she did a 9 to 5. This meant that for most of the day, his house, it was basically empty. And so he used to have a lot of friends over. I introduced Alicia to him as my girlfriend, and every day between 12 and 4 p.m., we'd tell our grandma we were going to a friend's house. Then we go to Jack's house, and once we were tired of acting like we were interested in watching TV with everyone else, we'd slip into his sister's room to recite Bible verses. What were you thinking? It would be sus if we kept going to the same friend's house every day. So sometimes we'd switch it up and look for a different excuse. She'd leave the house first, and I'd leave about 30 minutes later. We'd meet up at Jack's, and after reciting the book of Exodus together, she'd go back to the house, and I'd chill for a bit before going to. The plan was airtight, 100% execution. And at this rate, we were damn near gonna finish the whole Bible. Nothing could possibly go wrong. But you wouldn't be watching this video if it didn't. After a couple weeks, Jack's dad comes home from his work trip and he starts to stay home 24/7. This was a huge problem because there was absolutely no way he was gonna be in the same room with a bunch of horny teenagers locking themselves up reading the book of Revelations. Now, we were stuck. We couldn't do anything. And it was killing us both because we were always in the same place, the same room, all the time, except with like 6 other cousins. So there was no way we could do anything. At this point, we had just a week until we'd leave my grandma's. So I told her that all we had to do was wait it out. But she wasn't having any of that. Instead, it was her turn to come up with a plan. See, there were 8 of us grandkids in the house, 4 boys and 4 girls. The house had 4 rooms, my grandma's room, my aunt's room, and 2 guest rooms that served as the boys and girls' rooms. Then there was the living room. Now with all these different spaces, everyone was almost always in the same place because we were either watching a movie, playing games together, or eating. We were always together. But one thing Alicia noticed was that depending on where we watched our movies at night, the girls, they would always go to their room when they were ready to sleep. But the boys, they would always fall asleep wherever they were. So say we were watching a movie in our grandma's room, right? The girls would leave and go to their room when they felt tired, but the boys would fall asleep right there in our grandma's room, and you'd have to wake them up to go to their room. What this meant was that depending on where we watched our movie, the boys' room would be empty for a while, at least until my grandma or my aunt got up and asked the boys to go to their room. Knowing this, Alicia suggested that we put an all-nighter watching movies in the living room, and sure enough, everyone was on board. It was a simple plan. Tire everyone else out, get the girls to go to their room, and the boys to fall asleep. I thought the plan was kinda dumb, cause what if nobody fell asleep? What if the boys decided to go to their room today? There were too many holes. Bruh, I don't know what she did that night, but everybody fell asleep, bro. Right there in the living room. Everybody except Alicia's little brother, Daniel. It was 1:30 a.m. and this man's eyes were still wide open. We figured he wouldn't last long. 1:40, 2 a.m., 2:15, 2:45. Bruh, it is 3 a.m. and Alicia is livid. And she finally goes, "Everyone's asleep, Daniel. You should sleep too." And this kid is like, "No way. We're putting an all-nighter and I'm not gonna sleep. I'm gonna be up all night." But everyone else is asleep because everyone else is a loser. I like this kid. I thought it was funny, but Alicia, she was furious, man. I could literally see how upset she was. She planned this whole thing out just so she could read the book of Ezekiel tonight, but her brother was her biggest op. He didn't get any better than this. I'd already given up, but you know what they say about a woman on a mission. Alicia gets up, goes into the kitchen, and after a while, she comes out with a cup of hot, milky chocolate. She sits down, holding the cup in her hands, and sure enough, it gets his attention. "What's that? Hot chocolate? Where's mine?" "Oh, you want some?" "Yes, but if you drink it, it'll make you fall asleep, and you'll be a loser too." And the kid, he looks genuinely confused. She called him a loser. He didn't want to be a loser, but there was actually no reward attached to him staying up. He'd just be tired in the morning. But right here, right now, he could give it away for a nice hot cup of milk chocolate. He's a smart man. He made the right decision. A decision that would cost his honor and make him a loser. But for the creamy goodness of the chocolate, it was a decision the young man would not regret. Okay, that was impressive. You take care of 2 boys, you learn a few tricks. And just like that, the plan was complete. It'd been a whole week of seeing each other every single day, but not being able to do anything. You can only imagine how intense the scriptures we were gonna read would be, especially considering how we planned it all out and everything, it went in our favor. It was perfect. Well, almost perfect. You locked the door, right? Of course I did. It's probably just one of the kids. When he sees the doors locked, he'll go back to the living room. Are you sure? Positive, baby. There is no way anyone's coming.